Hey there, it's Tiffany of Clarity, Confidence, Courage. I am a women's life coach that helps empower divorced, heart-centered women who want to move forward in confidence, clarity, and understand what the next steps are for their life. Today, we're going to be talking about why you need to move in silence after you get a divorce. And when I say move in silence, I'm not saying that if you're in a difficult situation or a scary situation or a dangerous situation that you shouldn't alert your family or police. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact you got divorced and now you want to make sure that you keep a low profile. Everybody doesn't need to know your business. Everybody doesn't need to know what you're about to do. So in today's video, I want to talk about exactly why that's important and how you can start moving in silence after your divorce. So make sure you share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time I release a new video. Now let's jump into this content. Now again, when I talk about why you need to move in silence after your divorce, I mean keeping a low profile, making sure that you don't have everyone in your business. The number one reason for that is privacy. You want to have a level of privacy and protection around the information that happened that led up to the divorce, or the reason why you got divorced, or your finances during the divorce, or what you're about to do now. Everybody doesn't need to know that. You have the right to privacy after you get a divorce. You have a right to give yourself the time and the space to heal. And it's okay to tell someone, I'd rather not talk about that. If they bring up your divorce or your ex, to say, you know what, I just prefer not to have that conversation. That was between me and my ex-husband, and that's no one else's business. You have a right to say that. And it's not about being rude or mean. It's just everybody doesn't need to know what happened during your divorce or during your marriage or what led up to it. Now, eventually, if you want to tell that story, you can. But in the meantime, remain private. Use that opportunity to heal in your own time, in your own space. And if you're going to therapy, if you've got a coach, whatever it is, nobody has to know that. You can keep it to yourself. That's your own personal business. So that's the number one reason to remain silent and move in silence after divorce, is to maintain a certain level of privacy. The number two reason to move in silence is that it gives you an opportunity to discover yourself, to identify with who you are and what you want now that you are a fully new divorced woman. And a lot of times when you're discovering yourself, you do activities or hobbies that you've never tried before, go to places you've never tried before. You don't need to tell a lot of people, because you might try something that you don't like. But if you tell somebody, they're going to say, wait, aren't you doing that? I thought you were becoming a painter, or I thought you were writing a book, or I thought you were going to start some business. What happened with that? Then you'll start to get a lot of questions, and people get into your business about something that you were just trying out, that you weren't even sure you were going to do. So it's good to keep things private and move in silence so that you have an opportunity to experiment and try different things within your personal growth that other people aren't going to criticize or judge you for. Or if you decide to try something that seems a little bit out of the norm for you, you don't have people criticizing like, I can't believe you're doing that. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. All these things that people say when they find out that you're doing something or working on something or trying something new. Move in silence, keep it to yourself. So the second reason, number two, is to give yourself an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. The next reason you want to move in silence is specifically for if you have children. You want to minimize the amount of scrutiny that your children are going to have after the divorce. And the best way to do that is to not gossip about your ex, to not talk about divorce proceedings in front of them, to not just put all of the things that happened that was bad in your marriage in front of the whole world to see, which part of the world is your children. So you want to maintain a certain level of boundaries and protection for the sake of your children, if you have them, or child. Everybody doesn't need to know everything. You don't want any of your business dragged out in front of the world for your children to then see while they're trying to just go to school or have some sense of normalcy, which is going to be tough after the divorce. They're already going through so much. So when it comes to moving in silence, it helps to protect your children. It helps to make sure that they're not involved in any gossip or reading anything in a newspaper. If you went through a high-profile divorce, when you move in silence, you get an opportunity to make sure that they stay out of the muck and out of the drama. So that is the other reason why you should be moving in silence. Next, moving in silence gives you an opportunity to explore new opportunities, whether that's opportunities with your career, opportunities with business, opportunities with maybe places that you want to live. If you're moving in silence as you're exploring these opportunities, nobody knows what you're thinking. Nobody knows what your next move is. So no one can gossip about you. No one can say that, you're being dramatic or whatever it is, because you're keeping your mouth shut, and nobody knows your next steps. They can kind of think what you're going to do, or maybe predict, or maybe kind of gauge she might do this or estimate, but they really don't know for sure. And it's okay when you're exploring new opportunities and they ask you like, okay, so you got divorced. What are you going to do for money? Or you got divorced because you were a stay-at-home mom. So what are you going to do now? Or you got divorced and, you had to sell that big house. Where are you going to live now? And all those questions that people ask when you get a divorce, you can say, I'm exploring, but I haven't figured it out yet. Even if you kind of already know, you don't have to tell people that. You can say, well, I'd rather not talk about that. Or I'm exploring opportunities, but I haven't figured it out yet. I'm just kind of looking at different opportunities. That's a way to keep your name out of other people's mouths and keep the drama and the gossip low about your divorce or about what you're going through. It may be that you and your spouse had an amicable divorce and that you both agreed to sell the house, split the money, and that you were going to move to a different state. He might already know exactly what you're going to do, but nobody else has to know. Nobody else has to be involved in your business when it comes to your divorce. So again, another reason to move in silence after your divorce is to be able to explore opportunities without everyone and everybody's eye on your business. And finally, moving in silence is so empowering. It is so empowering to have a circumstance in life where it was difficult, it was hard, but instead of you being dramatic and emotional and telling the whole world what happened, you keep your mouth shut, you put up your boundaries, you stay private, and you have that quiet time in your life where you have an opportunity to build up your confidence, build up your self-esteem, rediscover yourself, and and do it quietly. Like, not tell a bunch of people what you're doing, but just kind of say, you know what? That was terrible. That was bad. But you know what? I'm going to take care of myself now. I'm going to quietly build up my own confidence. I'm going to privately, explore new opportunities in my life. I'm going to privately start packing up my things because I'm actually going to move out of state and nobody knows it yet. I mean, making decisions that show that you're in control of your life, that you know what to do, is so empowering. You're not running off to family members to cry. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with after divorce is very emotional, telling family or friends, but not all the time involving family and friends and coworkers in your private business, gossiping about your ex and bringing up old things that happened in the past. It just looks really messy from the outside when you behave that way. So when you're able to, have your moment, it's okay to be emotional, but then pull yourself together and get a plan going and focus on that plan quietly, privately, and in silence. It is so empowering. It feels empowering. And let me tell you, it looks empowering. It looks empowering to see a woman who just went through a divorce to then months later see her doing something or achieving some goal. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know she was working on that. I didn't even know she was doing that. People recognize like, wow, she took the time to gather herself together, build up her confidence and her self-esteem, and really get disciplined and focused on that goal. Good for her. That's how it looks like on the outside. Now, on the inside, I know it can be scary. It can be, fearful. It can be all these emotions. But when you move in silence, you give yourself time to build yourself up. And it's really empowering. And people on the outside really, whether they're close to you or not, they'll give you your kudos. Like, you know what? Good for her. She didn't try to bash her ex. She wasn't bitter. She didn't try to break anybody down. She just kept her mouth shut, moved on with her life, and accomplished her goals. Good for her. So those are my tips as to why you need to be moving in silence after your divorce. You don't need to gossip about your ex. You don't need to tell everybody what happened. You don't need to go through. I don't care how terrible he was. I don't care how horrible he was. At the end of the day, what is most important is you, your safety, your well-being, your health, your life, and just moving forward. That doesn't mean you're not going to get emotional. That doesn't mean you shouldn't seek therapy or coaching. That doesn't mean there isn't people that you can trust that can support you on the journey moving forward. That just means everybody doesn't have to know your business. Everybody doesn't have to know what's going on. Everybody doesn't have to be involved in what goes on if you have children with your child or that arrangement with your child support. People don't have to know all your business. Keep it to yourself. It makes you look confident, it makes you look powerful, and it makes you look like an adult woman who knows what she wants and how to move on with her life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this concept of moving in silence is empowering to you. Let me know in the comments, after your divorce, did you move in silence or did you go and tell everybody your business and then regret it later? Trust me, I won't judge you either way, but let me know your experience in the comments below. As always, be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.